Imagine you're sitting on a commercial airplane at 35,000 feet. You glance out the window. Just clouds, endless sky. The ground is so far below it doesn't even feel real. And then the thought hits you. If something goes wrong, why don't we just parachute out? Skydivers do it all the time. So why don't commercial airplanes carry parachutes for passengers? Before we go further, make sure you're subscribed and hit like, because today we're uncovering one of those simple questions that hides a surprisingly complex answer. But here's the surprising truth. The reason commercial airplanes don't have parachutes isn't laziness, it's not cost-cutting, and it's definitely not because no one thought about it. There's a much deeper reason. And once you understand it, you'll realize that adding parachutes would probably make flying more dangerous, not less. Let's break it down. On the surface, the idea sounds simple. If there's an emergency, everyone grabs a parachute and jumps. Problem solved. But now imagine the reality. A plane like a Boeing 737 or Airbus A320 cruises at around 500 miles per hour. That's race car speed. In the sky. Now imagine opening a door at that speed. The wind wouldn't just be strong, it would be violent. You wouldn't be able to stand, let alone calmly line up and jump. And there's something even more critical. At 35,000 feet, the air is too thin to breathe normally. That's why the cabin is pressurized. Opening a door at cruising altitude would cause explosive decompression. Oxygen masks would drop, loose objects would fly, panic would spread instantly. And that's just the beginning. Here's where most people get confused. They picture professional skydivers, but skydivers jump from about 10,000 to 13,000 feet, not 35,000. And the aircraft they jump from flies much slower. Plus, they're trained, extensively trained. Now imagine 180 everyday passengers, children, elderly travelers, people terrified of heights, people who've never even worn a parachute before. You would need to distribute equipment, explain how it works, fit it correctly, organize the exit, prevent panic, all during an emergency. That alone makes the idea nearly impossible. But there's more. At cruising altitude, outside temperatures can drop to minus 50 degrees Celsius. Without proper gear, you could lose consciousness quickly due to cold and lack of oxygen. So even if you managed to jump, survival wouldn't be guaranteed. Now, here's what surprises most people. Aviation safety isn't designed around what if everything fails at once. It's built around probability. Modern airplanes are engineered with layers of redundancy. Multiple systems back each other up. Pilots train constantly in simulators for emergency scenarios. Even if engines fail, aircraft can glide for dozens of miles. Statistically, you are far safer staying inside the aircraft than attempting to abandon it mid-air. And here's another key point. Most aviation accidents happen during takeoff or landing. That means low altitude. In many of those situations, there wouldn't be enough time or enough height for a safe parachute deployment anyway. So engineers ask a simple question. Would adding parachutes increase overall safety? Surprisingly, the answer is no. They would add weight, increase complexity, require constant maintenance, and introduce new risks, especially during chaotic situations. You might still be thinking, but what about catastrophic failure at cruising altitude? Here's something few people realize. Parachute systems do exist, but mostly for small aircraft. Some smaller planes are equipped with whole aircraft parachute systems that lower the entire plane to the ground. It works because those planes are light. A commercial jet weighs tens of tons. Designing a parachute system capable of safely lowering something that heavy would be enormous, incredibly expensive, and mechanically complex, and it would still only work in limited scenarios. Aviation safety is built on prevention, not escape.
The goal isn't to jump out. The goal is to make sure you never need to. And statistically, that approach works. Flying remains one of the safest forms of transportation in the world. Safer, in fact, than driving to the airport. So, the next time you look out the window and wonder, why don't we have parachutes? Remember this. It's not negligence, it's engineering. It's risk analysis. It's understanding that the solution that feels intuitive isn't always the safest one. Because sometimes the simplest things hide the most misunderstood truths.